What do you do and where do you put your hope? Where do you put your trust when the storm gets really, really bad and the waves get really, really high? What gives you confidence in that kind of situation? Good morning, guys and girls. July the 19th. July the 19th. We're going to be looking at, let's look at Matthew 28:20. This is a pretty long one, but this is a good one right here. Teach them to obey everything that I have taught you. This was Jesus talking to his disciples. Teach them to obey everything that I have taught you. And get this, I will be with you always, even unto the end of the age. What we've been going through here in the United States, you could put your trust in that statement for sure. I will be with you always, even unto the end of the age. Wow. I remember one time my son Jamie and my dad was following us out onto Lake Ontario in humongous waves, huge, huge waves. And Jamie was driving my Ranger boat, even though he was only 10 or 11 years old. I'm talking waves that you could bury a Ranger boat through, fill your boat completely full of water. Jamie had been driving a boat for a while. I'd had him driving a boat ever since he was old enough to walk, probably, sitting on my lap and at least steering one. And he had been driving one by himself for quite a while. The waves would almost overwhelm that boat. But Jamie was confident and he felt secure. Keep in mind now, Jamie's got his 50th birthday coming up here in about a week, the 25th of this month. In about a week, he's got his birthday coming up. So he was 10 or 11 years old. We're going a long way back. Granddad was beside him, and I was in the boat in front of him. I was watching for any trouble. There was really nothing for him to fear. He had his father in front of him and his grandfather right beside him. He felt safe and secure driving that big old Ranger boat on Lake Ontario in some bad, bad, bad waves. Those who are saved by the blood of Jesus Christ have a Father who will always be there no matter what. Even when the storm gets wild, when it gets scary, when those that we trust fail us, when the devil attacks us, we can always count on Jesus. And he'll be right there. He'll be right there. Always. I will be with you always, even into the end of the age. What are you trusting right now? You trust in your job? You trust in your money? You trust in the government? You trust in the Democrats or the Republicans? You trust in the people rioting in the streets? What are you trusting right now? Your only hope, my only hope, is trusting Jesus. Trusting Jesus. That's our only hope. Here's our tip for this week. Use a soft plastic jerkbait when bluegill are present in shallow water. Now, why does that work so well? Why does it work so well when you're going to use a little soft plastic jerkbait when the fish are you see bluegill up in shallow water? One of the reasons it works really, really well is because generally those bluegill are spawning. The bluegill spawn a little bit later than the bass and the crappie do. So you're getting into July. You're getting into this time of the year when the bluegills load up on those beds. They go up and load up on those beds after the bass move off of the beds. They do the exact same places. It's a great time to catch bluegill, obviously. But it's a perfect bait to use. So you can take that soft jerk bait and you can just dance it around in that area, and I promise you, it really, really catches a lot of fish. It's a perfect thing to be using. Absolutely a perfect thing to be using. If you can find some bluegill beds around, and bluegill beds will be a little bit deeper usually than a bass bed, and they'll be a lot smaller, of course. They won't be these great big giant beds you find. But if you can find some bluegill beds to fish around in the springtime with a soft plastic jerk bait, I promise you, you're going to catch some fish. And you can use, like the sinking worms. I mean, that works exactly good in that type of situation also. But if you'll find those type situations in this time of the year right now, you're going to catch some bass. You're going to catch some big bass, because one of the things that those big bass are in that area for is to eat those bluegill. You know, of course, for one thing, they have been fighting those bluegill off their bed for a long time. And so now they've got a situation where just the opposite. The bluegill are in there bedding, and it makes them a little bit easier to catch. And those doggone bluegill, they'll fight away things pretty big to keep them off of their beds also. But try the little soft plastic jerk baits, and you'll catch some fish under those kind of situations. Guys and girls, go out there and have you a great one today. It's going to be another scorcher, but it's going to be a good one. Remember, I love you.